Moments ago, officials in Lewiston, Maine gave an update on the search for the suspect accused of killing at least 18 people on Wednesday. The state's public safety commissioner says they are now dedicating resources to the search area near a boat launch where the suspect's car was found. Teams will be deployed in the air, water, and along the shoreline. The commissioner says they have received more than 500 tips and leads.
All of our partners have been continuing to work 530 plus tips and leads that have come in from the general public, from a number of communities, a number of different relationships. And as you can imagine, those vary greatly. We're also continuing to do searches at the two primary venues here, the one being Schmedji's Bar and Grill, and the second being the Spare Time Bowling Alley.
Well, joining us now to discuss is Charles Marino. He's a former Homeland Security Department advisor and agent. Let's start off with the 530 plus tips that investigators say that they've got. That's the fresh new information that we got this morning. I have to say, Charles, that I was surprised. It didn't feel like a lot of tips to me. Give us some context for understanding how helpful these actually are and whether that's a good amount.
Yeah, while we want the public to play a role in these types of cases, because you have no idea what kind of tip will ultimately lead to possibly locating this suspect and removing a very dangerous situation that's going to allow for the release of thousands of lockdowns of residents, for example. It's not many in the grand scheme of things when you think about the possibility of how far he could have advanced in his escape, right? We had not just one location where a shooting occurred, but we had a second location. And amongst all of the confusion of the first location, he had time on his side. And he had very clearly formulated an escape plan. So I would expect more tips. These tips are going to vary the range of information that's coming in, but law enforcement will run down each tip because you never know what can ultimately put an end to this case.
So one of the things Lana and I were just talking about, Charles, and I texted our two correspondents who were in the field covering the story, who have experience covering mass shootings, both Tarika Duncan and Elaine Keano do, and we just wondered why they haven't identified the other victims as of yet. They say, Lana, correct me if I'm wrong, they've identified 8 of the victims. That's why there are only 8 counts for murder out for, as far as the warrant for the suspect is concerned. But is that unusual to you, or does it just take time to identify the victims and also to notify the victims' families once you do?
Yeah, it's the latter part that you just brought up. Sometimes it's not as easy as you would think to get in touch with the next of kin. And that's the right thing to do, the respectable thing to do. There may be small cases where they have yet to identify somebody, but I don't think that's the case. I think here it's closing that circle of making sure that the right notifications have been made to the right people, family's been identified. You give the family an opportunity to really be a part of the grieving process, begin the grieving process. So I have no concerns about that. It's not an uncommon factor in these types of investigations, especially unfortunately, as we're dealing with a large amount of victims here.
Yeah, and obviously a lot of the resources are still going into the search for that suspect considered armed and dangerous. We learned that they're going to be adding divers and air resources to the search area now. Talk to us about how this works. How effective might it be?
Yeah, so again, they're going to continue to be very methodical in their search patterns. Still lots of resources from law enforcement agencies, both federal, state, and local, participating in those grid searches. They will expand. They've got agencies like the U.S. Coast Guard covering the waterways. You heard them working with local critical infrastructure like the dams to control the speed of the water, the depth of the water, so they can actually get in there and do their job a little more thoroughly. And then also, let's remember that there's other investigative actions going on as well. You probably have some searches going on in the surrounding areas, communities, and as well as coordination with authorities in Canada as an escape across a border heading north becomes a more likely possibility.
You know, it's interesting, Charles. We often think that, and then this may be because we consume a lot of movies and television, that, you know, in the movies, you know, the people take the, you know, their batteries out of their phones, and, you know, there are cell towers, and there's ways to track credit card usage. It feels as if we're being surveilled constantly in the United States now, right? But what this proves is that in some instances it can be, especially if you've had a lot of planning, it can be very easy to thwart law enforcement. What are some of the challenges that police and federal officials, federal law enforcement officials are facing as they continue to look for the suspect?
Well, I think you just nailed it. It's easy to be surveilled as long as you remain connected to electronic devices and the ease of society today, like credit cards. But if you truly want to get off the grid and have planned, for example, to go to all cash transactions, as this individual possibly could have done, then there will be no surveillance connectivity at all for law enforcement. And we can't rule that possibility out for this individual for two reasons. The methodical planning that went into this, and also the extent of his military training. I can tell you law enforcement's going to be very interested in what type of specific training courses he went through in his Army Reserve training, because he could be executing some of those methodologies right now as we speak to avoid detection. All of this, in a nutshell, makes law enforcement's job very hard, because law enforcement is becoming more technologically reliant. As you said, working based off of cell phone towers, working with banks to see last known transactions, relying on technologies like license plate readers to pick up on any associated known motor vehicles. So there's a lot of technology out there, but if someone truly knows how to go off the grid, it's going to be much harder for law enforcement.
And on the flip side, Charles, I'd like to ask you about something that Lana mentioned to me earlier, which is we've talked about law enforcement and the challenges. What about for the public at large? If this individual has been pointed out, has been hearing voices, and he is armed and dangerous, from a law enforcement perspective, when do you remove those shelter-in-place measures? When do you remove those lockdowns for schools? We were both talking about, we remember very vividly, and you probably do as well, the D.C. sniper, and how for many weeks we had no idea, the public, when somebody might get hurt, and that's
that fear.
The fear that sort of existed, and this was a large city like Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area. I just got to wonder about how people are feeling knowing somebody is out there and armed and also hearing voices. Yeah.
No, that's right. So I think three things going on. You've got fear, you've got nervousness, and you've got frustration now starting to creep in. I just spoke to an individual in the area that's still under lockdown, and they're very concerned. They're concerned for the safety and security of their families, how they would ultimately be in a position to be able to defend themselves if the need arose, and also when is all of this going to end? So that frustration will start to overtake some of the nervousness, though not ultimately, and they'll start to put more pressure on law enforcement officials as they start to vocalize their frustration. But in the end, I think law enforcement and city leaders are doing the right thing here. There's no choice but to keep everybody under lockdown. You said this is a very dangerous individual. And I think what this shows for your listeners is that although somebody could be suffering from a mental health crisis, such as hearing voices, paranoia, etc., if they are still able to formulate a plan, they become even more dangerous. And that's what we're dealing with here, because we don't know what the mental health amplifiers are right now in terms of driving this individual to potentially, if he's still alive, commit more heinous acts. And that's the wild card.
Charles Marino, so glad to get your insight into what's ahead then. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.